What is up, everybody? I am Rockin, and I'm here to present my top 5 favorite. I lost the bit. How's everybody doing? Welcome to PCP Movie Night here on Pop Culture Philosophers. We are in Crew's Choice, and tonight we're talking about the 2000 film High Fidelity. Now, this is starring John Cusack and a whole bunch of other people, including Jack Black. And if John Cusack's in it, then Joan Cusack's not too far behind as well. Plus Tim Robbins, and one of my favorite roles that Tim Robbins has ever played is in this movie, High Fidelity, which is based on a Nick Hornby novel directed by Stephen Frears. And we are in Crew's Choice, and this was Jelani's pick. So let's bring him in first. It is Jelani. What is up, my man?
Station. I had a top 5 list too. I appreciate you being here.
Please keep your patchouli stink out of my studio, okay?
Hey, I'll wear patchouli if I want. Yeah, man, good to be here, man. I love this movie, and like I always want to pick Blues Brothers, and Blues Brothers is my favorite movie of all time. It's actually in my top 10 on my list, and didn't do it again because there's so many other movies. Like before it was Black Dynamite, and what was it before that? I can't remember what I had before that, but yeah, it'll come to me later.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We're getting close. We are getting close.
Getting close to the Blues Brothers. Speaking of the Blues Brothers, this is the Blues to my brother. We were the Blues Brothers for Halloween once, and I couldn't remember their fucking names. Anyway, it's John. What's up, Hammer Time? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
You were Dan Aykroyd. I was
Jake and Elwood.
Jake and Elwood. That's what I kept wanting to say, something like Roy and Elroy. But that's
we look good, man. We shaved, but we had the little facial hair here, and we had the black suits and the shades. We were looking sharp, man. That was part of the. Is that the only time we did something together? I think that's the only time we actually seen.
It's only the second time I've done a couple's costume. Even though we weren't really technically a couple. we had some alcohol and there.
I did the same thing with my buddy Nate in Orlando.
Yeah,
I had the fedora and everything, and I don't know where that fedora is now.
Me and Kiera one time were Rigby and Mordecai from.
I remember that actually.
Yeah. Oh, Brooks is here too. What's up, Brooks?
Brooks.
Oh.
Happy to have you here.
Yeah.
High Fidelity.
Good to be here.
It is good to be here. All right. High Fidelity. Let me tell you something. This movie came out in 2000. 3 of us have one thing in common about the year 2000. Well, 3 out of 4 of us have one thing very particular in common about the year 2000. That we worked at a movie theater. And this movie came out. We all knew each other.
We were all there.
This was a fucking movie that we loved. And we loved together. Right? You know what I'm saying? And I had remembered Grosse Pointe Blank, but I don't think I really fully dived into Grosse Pointe Blank till after High Fidelity. And Say Anything was one of my favorite romantic comedies. I like romantic comedies that deal more with the negative and the positive of a relationship, and not in like that cheesy, like, act 2, the woman runs away and the dude's got to spend act 3 trying to find her and chasing her to the train tracks and all that kind of bullshit, right? I quote this film as being my favorite romantic comedy of all time. And people try to push back on that. They're like, this movie's not a romantic comedy. It is. It is a brilliant fucking film to me. That on the rewatch, people had warned me that Rob comes across as a dick. He's unlikable. He's kind of an unreliable narrator at times until he does get very, very honest, because that's something that's built into the damn story. Now, I've never read the Nick Hornby book, right? He also did Fever Pitch, same author, right? But I've never read the book.
And About a Boy.
Yeah, the book. Oh, yeah, that's right. About a Boy with Nicholas Hoult, right? Yeah.
Hugh Grant.
They're rumoring for Lex Luthor right now.
I'll watch
it. With that. Nicholas Hoult is sexy as fuck. All right, so anyway, High Fidelity, John Cusack, great script. I loved it at the time. Now, I worked at a comic shop. I worked at a movie theater. These are things I was doing. We would have these conversations about our favorite movies, our favorite albums. The way that Rob and his friends are in this movie, that's how we are, y'all. That's why we do Pop Culture Philosophers. That's why every podcast we've ever done is anchored with a top 5. In particular, because of this movie. Like, we remember this, John, we had this conversation. We're like, we're going to do top 5s and not 10s, because 10s we can have more, but 5 is the perfect one, like in High Fidelity, because you only have 5 and it's tough. That's why we've always done top 5s and not 10s. So This movie is very influential, not just on me, not just on Jelani, not just on John, and we'll get to Brooks by the end of it, but it's influential to pop culture philosophers. This is a very important movie. I hadn't seen it in years. So late night, Saturday night, I'm at home. I'm like, you know what? I need to watch High Fidelity. I hadn't seen it in like 10 plus years, right? And I put it on at like 11:30. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to make it through this movie. I made it right through that fucking movie. Y'all know me. If I start a movie after 8 p.m., I'm falling asleep. I was up. I was engaged. I was enthralled. The script is tight. The music is amazing. The story, the characters, the way it's told. Yeah, Rob's kind of a douchey character. I love that. They don't make movies like this anymore. Everybody's scared to have a main character that's not necessarily a super good person 100%. I don't like that all the time. That's a fallacy. Y'all remember when I wrote my first movie script, Skip Day, my main character was an asshole. And the whole point of that movie is him realizing that cheating on a girl on their first date is the wrong thing to do. I love the idea of an unlikable character because we as individuals are unlikable. This movie held up. I love its structure. It's not structured like your typical romantic comedy. When Laura and Rob get back together, there's still like 20 minutes of the fucking movie to go because it's a movie about Rob and his life. And this whole idea, we've all gone through this, especially when this movie came out when I'm like 20. And, you know, when we're in our early 20s, we've had a couple of bad breakups. We think that like our romantic life is over. We think it's done. We're just gonna be alone, and all that kind of stuff. Or we put too much significance on minor things that shouldn't have mattered, right? His whole like top 5 breakups of all time, the way that's anchored around, this is a brilliant film, in my opinion, about relationships, romance, love, loss. Can I keep the alliteration going? Probably not. Relationships and romance, love and loss, music and taste. That's what this movie is about, and it excels. I was going to be like, even if I watch High Fidelity and I love it like a motherfucker and think it's just technically superior and sound, I will refuse to give this movie a 5, you digs, because Jelani shit on Repo Man so much last week. Out the window. This movie won me the fuck over again. Hadn't seen it in forever. And when I watched it, like this movie is so tight. It never gets boring. If anything, I want more of this movie. I want more bits of them in the record store shitting on customers. I want more bits. Like that whole bit where the dude's like, when the one dude just shows up for the one scene and he's like, man, just y'all kind of elitist, you know, it's just sad.
Just sad.
Like, I want more of that. I want more of that interaction, but so fucking good. And also taking the original novel, which is set in England, moving it to Chicago because John Cusack's from Chicago and he co-wrote this script. It utilizes the locations in Chicago so fucking well. Like the bars and shit like that, right? Like those are very famous bars that are in the movie. It really sells the fact that I love a movie when it goes out of its way to be like, this is Chicago. Because a lot of times when a movie's supposed to be Chicago or New York, something is fucking Vancouver.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't pick this movie. I've been rambling about it. Jelani, you picked it. Why? You love this movie. Tell us about your overall thoughts.
Well, it was all yours, but yeah, I'll continue. Man, yeah, it's one of my top 10 movies of all time. It's actually number 10. I have a good list. My top 5 are actually, I was going to say these now. My top 5, and number 1 is Blues Brothers. After that is Friday. Then it's The Godfather. And then it's Transformers, the movie, because it teaches you about death. But
the Michael Bay one.
Yeah. Oh, no, gosh, no. Transformers! No. But High Fidelity's in there. It's in the top 10 list because like I saw so much of us in it. Like with that time in our lives in like 2000 and actually in those years going, that's us. That's basically like we were freaking movie and comic snobs, and we still are. And it pretty much drags out the fact that relationships can be tough. On top of that, relationships are nuanced. They're not always good. You never have the perfect romance. I've had a few, and sometimes they're perfect. Sometimes it works out really well. Sometimes you're with somebody that you are like that's way out of your league, and you're like, how did I get this person? How did I do this? Or
that's how all of my romantic
girl.
That's how all of my romantic partners have felt about me. By the way, just so you
know. Sounds fair. But yeah, High Fidelity is one of those movies where it's just it's one of the perfect romantic comedies. It shows the highs and the lows of a love, and I've watched this numerous times in my lifetime. I mean, if it's on, I'll watch it. It's just one of those things. The music is fantastic. The cast is fantastic. I love Jack Black in this movie. Like, this is like one of his first roles. I think this may be his first role.
It's one of his first big ones for sure, right? He was in things like X-Files, right? But he was this was his
not like a movie,
and it almost didn't happen. Like, he was nervous about it, didn't think he was doing a good job, and apparently he almost quit 2 times. But Stephen Frears was like, "No, bro, trust me.
You got to stay.
You are going to be what everybody's talking about in this movie." First thing.
And
it's a Cosby sweater.
A Cosby sweater. But he's such a fantastic character, and everyone is great in this film. Tim Robbins is amazing. I keep forgetting Laura's name. It's like she is very Nordic. But I love her in this movie. She's.
Are you talking about Joelle Carter? Is that
No.
Nope, that's oh my goodness.
Her name is Hajili or something like that. I cannot say her name. I'm sorry. But she's fantastic in this film. She's like a long-suffering girlfriend. Like she's put up with Rob's shit for a long time. And like all the ex-loves remind me of someone I've dated or I've known. And like it's weird how it mirrors so many things in my life that I have seen and that I actually appreciate. And we mentioned this film while we were doing our cruise choice thing, and like one of the things I was like, oh yeah, I absolutely love this movie. And it's a perfect storm of a film I didn't expect to like. And I saw it in the movie theater multiple times. I own it on VHS. I couldn't find the VHS to bring it out because I just didn't feel like going through storage for it. But
I remember having the movie poster. I remember having the movie poster in my room. You remember that? Yeah, when we just sit around and smoke, I had the movie poster and I had the Mylar, I think. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. It's a very mirroring film. And like it brings up so much nostalgia for me. And it had to be, we had to review it, man. We haven't reviewed a romantic comedy either since Brazil. And we haven't done like When Harry Met Sally.
I don't know. Dressed to Kill could be a romantic comedy if you really think about it. I'm just kidding. That's a joke.
But we haven't done any romantic comedies, and I think it was well needed that we needed like a.
We did Grosse Pointe Blank last year.
Yeah, that's a romantic comedy.
Yeah. Wasn't that your pick, John?
That was John's pick.
That was Brian's pick, I think.
No, it was my pick.
No, it was John's pick. Okay. It was John's pick. Yeah, and and this has a lot of Say Anything vibes because there's a lot of stuff that's in the rain. Especially when he's like stalking Laura in the rain on the phone. Yeah. And it's just
payphones.
Rob is such a dick. He is like one of the worst people you want to meet, but at the same time, I understand where he's coming from. I get all of it. Like you finally get the girl after you lose the girl, and then you're like, oh, there's another girl over there. Maybe I want to talk to that one too. Guys have that thing where we just have things on our minds, and it's gonna happen no matter what. I mean, and that's being human. And this is a very human tale. This is a very human tale of love and loss, and I absolutely adore it. I am so glad we're getting a chance to review it. That's what I got.
Word. Well, thank you for picking it, man. Like I said, I wasn't necessarily nervous about rewatching it. I just didn't think that it was going to. A lot of times, movies that are very important to me, that reflect me when I was in my early 20s, don't hold up to me in my 40s. It was crazy as a 42-year-old man watching this movie, understanding how I felt about it 20 years ago, and everything I've learned since then. And then I think this is a very nuanced character arc. I get that he's kind of an asshole, I don't think he's a hateful person though, and he's not a bad person. He legitimately cares.
He's just selfish.
He's just
and narcissistic.
as OUG said in the chat. This movie's about finding your place in the world, and how that doesn't necessarily always mean who your partner is. Your partner can help you become the best version of you, but the partner is not the answer. The answer is finding that within yourself. And sometimes a partner can help that. Like, I love that moment at the end when Laura's like, wouldn't you rather be a record store owner than an architect? And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, there you go. And it's good to put that in perspective, because so many times in our lives, we focus on things that we wanted, but never attained or achieved. Sometimes we really need to focus on what we have. What we have right now is Hammer Time Holshoe. I asked you specifically to be here tonight because I know you love this movie. I know you love the fucking it's a Paul McCartney reference on the cover, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know you love this film. I know you love John Cusack. Take us back, homie. What do you think about this film overall?
I like it, man. I liked it then. I like it now. You're right that he is a dick, but he does grow as a person, and he's not necessarily a bad person. You know what I'm saying? The only time I really thought he was a dick was when that one girl was like, no, I was 16. I don't want to have sex yet or whatever. And he's like, oh, that's right. I broke up with her. And like, he's so focused on that whole thing. I'm like, wow, what a dick.
This
but
feels great. This feels great. I should have done this years ago.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it. We saw it at the theater. I saw it at Hollywood when we used to work at Hollywood together. And I enjoyed it then. I enjoyed it on the rewatch a few years ago. And then I watched it again today, actually. And I think it's great. It's got a great soundtrack. Yeah, he's a dick, but he does grow as a person. You know, he matures. And it's good. You see that. And the cast overall is great. And the soundtrack is great. We'll get to that. But overall, it's just a well put together film, man. It was fun on the rewatch, and I still enjoy it. And you're right. A lot of times I'll be rewatching a movie I've seen before several times, and I'm checking my phone or doing this or doing that. But I was the whole time engaged, even on the rewatch. So it's I think it's awesome. And yeah, there are references to a lot of, other things in pop culture and music, but I like the references.
Yeah, those are some of our favorite movies. That's why we grew up in the 90s as Kevin Smith marks. You know what I'm saying? And movie fit right in that. And before, it was in every goddamn thing where everything had to be referencing pop culture and be quippy and shit. This movie existed first, right? Like with a few others, and kind of like a Clerks, where it spotlights what it's like on the other side of the counter sometimes. How annoying fucking customers can be. Like, a little bit.
And they are.
There's no way your daughter likes that song. Brooks, this is not your first time. What do you think about this film overall?
Well, I remember I watched this movie with you back early on, when not long after we'd met, actually, as I recall. And I remember loving it, thinking it was really funny. This time around, it wasn't as funny, but I still enjoyed it for different reasons, I guess, this time. But it is a very, I think it's more a romantic. It has more of the romantic than it has the comedy in it, that I can tell. It does have some very funny moments in it, but the focus seems to be on this guy's, coming to terms with, how he feels about women, and accepting that women aren't just something for him to blow through, but are people that need, the same kind of attention that he desires from them. So I like this movie this time around for different reasons, I guess. But I mean, I still enjoy the workplace parts, with the three guys from the crew, because that does harken back to the olden days. If you replace the music shop with a comic shop.
Yes.
It's
still my life. It's still my life.
Yeah.
And it is like Clerks in a lot of ways. It's like if Clerks, in Clerks, instead of following Dante through his workday, if instead it focused on Dante's romantic relationship with his girlfriend and his ex. But in Clerks, instead, they just focus on his day-to-day, and the romance part is kind of in the beginning and the bookends the movie. But this one is more
in High Fidelity. They had $30 million to make this movie, so they were able to use more than one location. So they were able to do that, right?
Fancy boy movie.
Fancy. Now, in the movie, it hit when it came out. Like it wasn't a massive smash hit, but it did good on VHS and DVD afterwards, and it's garnered a following, so much so that there was the show. I saw that Eric mentioned that. I have not seen the show.
I haven't either.
But I do love
it. Well received.
Zoe Kravitz.
It got canceled.
Yeah.
Okay. I do love that a TV remake of a movie that stars Lisa Bonet that has a Cosby sweater reference has her daughter in the fucking reboot or whatever. It's like, it's weirdly meta.
It's Rob's kid.
Yeah.
I'd say it's Rob's. No, I have no idea. I haven't seen the show.
Is it what's her name's kid?
It would be her Marita Sal's kid and Rob's kid. I mean, it would make
so
sense.
Good, in fact, that immediately I go out and sleep with Marita Sal.
Like what?
Yes. All right. So this movie has some amazing characters, some brilliant performances. Jelani, you picked it. You get to lead us off. What's the strongest performance that you want to highlight?
I mean, it's Rob. I mean, I have to take Rob. Sorry, guys. It's my movie. My Rob. Rob is...
Rob.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
What kind of name is that anyway? It sounds like a fake name.
Yeah.
So real quick. OUG, Carrie wants to know, so I want to know from the panel, if you had to pick which one of the guys in the shop you're most like in life, which one do you pick? I would pick Rob.
I pick Barry.
Yeah, that's Jack Black, right?
That's Jack Black. Yeah.
John,
I know it.
I can't remember the dude's name. The quiet.
The Moby's cousin.
Yeah, I can't remember that dude's name.
I think Brooks would be Raymond Ian, right?
I think it was Dick. Yeah, it was Dick.
Yeah, Dick. Yeah.
It was Dick.
I forgot, like, the hardest, most gut-wrenching laugh I've ever had in a movie theater is from this movie, and I completely forgot about the scene. So when it happened again, it reminded me. But when Rob's having that fantasy about telling Tim Robbins off, right?
Oh yeah.
And then Dick just grabs the fucking register and knocks his teeth.
Yeah.
The best part's when he grabs the in wall like AC unit and like hits him with that.
Yes, he just keeps escalating.
Yeah, dude, it's so great.
But yeah, Rob is an unreliable narrator. He is a dick. He is a fucking asshole. He is just one of those people that you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But he's lovable. I don't get it. Like, he's one of those characters where you root for him. You want him to do well. You want him to succeed, even though he's like a complete narcissist.
He's an everyman.
And he is a kind of an everyman. Yeah, he's human. He's the best representation of a human man, where it needs a man baby on top of it, and it's perfect. I don't know what it is. He's bad at relationships because somehow he self-sabotages himself. He doesn't believe in himself. He doesn't know, and he's more self-righteous in a lot of different ways. And he's a big hypocrite because like he gets mad when Laura like wants to sleep with Ian, and and then like he finds out that she didn't. He immediately sleeps with Marita Sal. It's kind of like he's just this big mess of a person, but at the same time he's a lovable guy, and he just is. And you're muted, Robbie. You were just so muted.
My bad. And then he finds out that she does sleep with him, and he's devastated.
He's dead. He's ruined. Like, but you want to do that, and you cheated on her, and like it caused her like to have an abortion. It's a whole bunch of stuff going on with Rob. Like, but it's relationship Rob. Relationship Rob is like a completely different person. In fact, he lets his relationships rule his life. It allow him, like Catherine Zeta-Jones' character. I keep forgetting her name, but Charlie. She's the one that got away. I know exactly who my Charlie is.
How fucking hot is Catherine Zeta-Jones in this fucking movie?
She's fucking hot, but she's still kind of
I'm kind of like Charlie too. I'll be honest, like that smug.
Yeah,
she just talks shit
all the time, and it's like I've dated that Charlie. I know that I know exactly who it is, and like I feel it because they're like I didn't feel I was adequate for her. Didn't feel like this was the best thing, and then she left me for like a football guy, like a football dude. So she left me for a Marco, And I was like, okay, I understand now. So it
Marco
kind of
just-
drags to me.
Marco just felt more glamorous.
Sunnier. Yeah. Just all that stuff. I've been in that and I know that. So
There are little subtle
It
things in this
feels-
movie, y'all, by the way. Like t-shirts, album covers in the foreground that reference certain things. For instance, the Stevie Wonder song I just called to say I love you is playing in the record store when Laura calls Rob to tell him that her father died. So there's little things like that. And the t-shirt that he's wearing, so Charlie, in a lot of their scenes of their past relationship, she's wearing one of
wearing a lot
his
of
shirts. She's wearing his Pretenders.
her pretender shirt.
He's pretending to
Right.
be someone to be involved with it, right? Like it's
And he's
you're right.
he's
Like his
in these
relationships
relationships.
he's trying
Yeah.
to find his identity through his relationships.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But yeah, the thing is, he wants them, he wants to imprint himself onto them, and then they create his reality. And Laura is the only exception, because Laura is the person that wants him to be more than what he is. She doesn't want him to be a sycophant, and that's why he never worked out in relationships, because he's trying to glam on to any girl at any time, like that Allison Ashmore, the very first girl he kissed, the 6 hours that he kissed her, she was just using him for practice for Sean. And like it's those things where he's like, I can't believe this happened to me. It's as simple as this. And Rob uses that and fuels that first heartbreak for the rest of his relationships. And he's, in the second relationship, the girl, he's trying to have sex with her. He can't have sex with her. He gets mad. And then the next guy she's with has sex with her. And it was basically forcing on her. But, and he's only happy because he broke up with her. It's all these little things that happen, but all these relationships he's trying to glam on. He's not really looking at their perspective. He only sees his own selfishness. And it's a great character study. But at the same time, he's got a good heart. When he is in the relationship, he's there. He's present for most of those things. I really like John Cusack anyway. He's just one of my favorite actors. He's really cool. I liked him in Grosse Pointe Black. I like him in Say Anything. What was that 1412 movie? I liked him in 1408. I love that movie. There are a lot of different John Identity. He's got a great repertoire. I know he went crazy there for a second. I don't know if I don't know what happened there, but I don't care about the actor outside of his work. And John Cusack's a great actor anyway, so I chose him for this.
Unless it's all
Robbie. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
I can hear you say that. Actually,
Really.
Hammer time. What's a performance you want to highlight?
Jack Black, man. He's the funniest part of it. He has a lot of comedy, and I was a big fan of Jack because prior to this, I saw him on Mr. Show, and then the show that came on after Mr. Show was the Tenacious D Show. And I actually saw an interview not too long ago with Bob Odenkirk, and they're like, aren't you pissed off that you produced the Tenacious D Show and that was more popular than Mr. Show, your own show? And he didn't have any hard feelings for Jack. He was happy. He was success. He's had such success. So I was happy to see him in some stuff beyond that. I hadn't seen him in much prior to that, and small parts. But I was a big Jack Black fan prior to that. So I
liked him in Gulliver's Travels.
Yeah, everything I saw him, and I liked him. I didn't see him in a ton. You know what I'm saying? So to see him in here, and I especially love when he sings that song. Oh yeah, we're not Sonic Youth Death Monkey or whatever. He's like, we were what was the other one? Kathleen Turner Overdrive, but now instead he changes the band name, but he does that cover, and he does a great job. He's got a good voice, and he'd be a good Bowser. Now I think about it.
Yeah.
He was a good Bowser, man. I'll be honest.
He's great in it. Love him in it, and my favorite part. But he really adds the comedic element and sort of like, because at times the movie is very serious. There's funny parts, even just with Cusack on his own, but it's definitely a more sombering, serious film without Jack, and Jack adds a lot of lightheartedness to it.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. Kathleen Turner Overdrive is still
It is.
Killer band name. You're right.
It is. It is a great band name.
Yes.
Flux Capacitor Overdrive would also be a good band name.
Dude, they I wish they were still that's a local band. They used to do the Rockin' Robbie theme. They're awesome. Flux Capacitor Overdrive. We love you. Y'all need to get back together, do a reunion. Anyway, Brooks, what's character you want to highlight?
Ian.
You fucking asshole. You
Nobody has ever had sex as good as the sex that she has with
That's
Ian
right.
in my head. It's like he's
Had that problem
he's a
too.
very brief character in this movie, but he's kind of like a character that was a kind of a popular character back in the day. Like another example I can think of is Neil from Jingle All the Way. You know, Judge Reinhold's character. You know, the psychiatrist guy. You know, he's very like thoughtful, but at the same time he seems kind of distant. And like that just makes it so funny because you know especially that scene you were talking about when he walks in and then he fantasizes about beating the shit out of him. And he just comes in and he's like he seems like a very reasonable. He's like, we need to talk about this. And
conflict resolution. Yeah.
But and it's like, and also like he gives the girlfriend like what she needs, which is, you know, just they sleep together without, you know, feeling pressured to, you know, to have sex. And I mean, it obviously didn't work for him in this instance. She went back to douchebag Rob, but you know, the sex with Ian is always the best in your head.
In your head.
It is.
Tim Robbins, very little payday, very little screen time. He took the role on one condition. They custom made him a wig and he got to keep it. He still uses it for costumes on Halloween and shit. But like he was just like, I'll do it, but I want a custom wig and I got to keep it. And I just think that's amazing. His character, dude, I was going to say Ian because it's just that fucking Ian guy. And he just comes across as everything you hate about your previous partner's new relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, you feel like they're better at sex than you. You feel like they're more compassionate than you. They're calmer than you. They're not angry. Yeah, man, absolutely. What's up, Bueller? Bueller's the Ian of my life, by the way. How you doing, buddy? One of your favorite.
Wasn't Jingle All the Way? It was the Santa Claus that character was in.
Fuck, we should have had fucking Carrie and Bueller on the show with us tonight, man. That's what we should have done. We should have. Oh well, we missed that opportunity. Anyway, I will go then with Todd Luiso as Dick because very meekish character, right? But
he gets Sarah Gilbert.
Well, there's that. But being in between John Cusack, the main character, and Jack Black, it's difficult to carve out an identity. He does. He's great. That whole bit, like one of my favorite bits with him is when he's talking to Darlene from Roseanne, right? And he's talking to her about what's the name of the band that he's talking about that sounds like Green Day? John, do you remember?
I forgot the name of it too.
Yeah, he's playing this band, and then someone's like, "Is this the new Green Day album?" And he just gives us like I don't know. He's just so calm and just the way he delivers his lines, like it's so good. He's such a great character. But I also got to give a shout out to, you're right. I don't know how to say her name, but Laura Iban Hajali or whatever. Laura is awesome. She's great. She is fantastic in the movie. And Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Can't get it.
She is so like out of everybody
in my fuck Mary Kill list.
This is my problem. This is why I relate to Rob. Everybody in this movie, I'm like, yeah, Laura's the right person for Rob, but man, Charlie, I would do anything.
I would let her talk shit to me all the time. All the time.
No shit. Also, Lisa Bonet in this movie, there is something she does with her voice. It's kind of like a smack or something that she does that is just, it melts me. So
she's sexy too.
Stiff little fingers.
Little fingers. Thank you so much, John.
She needed a sandwich in this movie, but she's still fine.
Also, major shout out to Bruce Springsteen playing himself.
Yeah,
which that originally, that originally was supposed to be. That was originally supposed to be
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Cusack too. Yeah. Hi, Rob. You asshole. I love it so much.
Asshole.
Style and structure. This movie's filled with it. What do you think, Jelani?
Oh yeah, it's very stylish because of the location. Chicago is a big deal. It's very gritty, and it tells us that the city is a lived-in character in this film as well. The record shop is dusty and musty. It's just this place. But at the same time, it has a lot of heart inside of it. Like these characters just make it like a much brighter place. It's cut well. I like how he tells everything in the first person. That's why I love Rob so much. He's a great narrator as far as telling his side of the story, and that the fact that he's willing to be honest with his narrator self. Like I heard there was like a scene that was cut out of this film where like there was a record collection, and when John Cusack walks in and yells at him, it's like, you fucking asshole. When she does that part, he's going to a record collection that he's about to purchase, and it's like the greatest albums that are ever pressed that were just in this lady's possession, and she wanted to like give these records away for like a dumb cheap price because she wanted to piss off her husband. And they were like first print like of the Beatles and stuff like Michael Jackson's Thrillers, first and stuff like that she just had.
I just picked up the Blu-ray and it didn't have any of the deleted scenes, but I remember my DVD having it because I remember seeing that scene. But yeah, and it's so
Beverly D'Angelo. Yeah, it's Beverly D'Angelo.
And there's Harold Ramis is in a
Harold Ramis is in one
playing his father.
His father, yeah. And it's like, and they cut the mom out, which was kind of weird, and they cut the dad out. But I mean, it's a tight enough film where you don't need that many more characters to be introduced. But I love how like most of these scenes are from his point of view, and he tells it how it is. He doesn't look at the camera while he's like talking to someone all the time. He's telling you the story, and he does it in such a great way, and it's cut so well. And I heard John Cusack and his friends just basically wrote this because I don't know if there was a writer before this, but
I think he co-wrote. I think he's written other things. Like I think he was a co-writer on Grosse Pointe Blank and other things like that.
Okay, so like the author of the book was like, "Hey, he really read my book," so it was kind of like he was very impressed on how spot on that the book is, and it does tell things to modern writers on how to stick to the source material to make a great thing. You know, if you stick to the
and you can still make changes.
And you can make changes.
Change it from England to Chicago, and it didn't change the spirit of the story at all.
And it didn't do it at all. It's a brilliantly told tale because of that. And Steven Frears like has a great cinematic eye for what he's trying to portray. I love it. Sometimes it's flat. Sometimes I like the club scenes are a little flat to me. But other than that, man, he's shooting it well. I like when he tells when Rob tells the 5 things he loves about Laura. You know, how she smells like home. I love how that whole scene is shot because it's like right under this L train, and he's walking by, and it's just shot very well. I just like how it is, and he looks at the camera while it's moving in those parts. Absolutely love it. I don't know what it is. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But yeah, I think it's shot well. It's long, but you can't tell because you breeze right through this movie. It's always compelling, so I'm not really bored in any parts. Like there's nothing here that bores me. So I mean, all in all, it's a great film. Like all together, style and structure wise, that's A+.
Oh yeah, it's. Like you said, it is a long film. If you put it in, it's almost 2 hours long, which makes sense as to why they cut those scenes as good as they are, right? But in an era, post after this, we had an era of Judd Apatow. Judd fucking Apatow, that fucking Judd guy, right? Where all of a sudden comedies have to be 2.5
hours long.
And it's like,
Funny
what the fuck?
Killed him.
But once again, it's not the length It's the pace. This movie has a brilliant pace. So does Brooks. You guys need to see this dude speed walk at the mall on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. He's there just doing his pace.
You can't see me because I'm going too fast.
What about you,
Brooks?
Breeze
go by, that's me.
Do you do the hit walk where your legs move? And
like Sonic the Hedgehog, my legs are moving so fast, they're like a little swirly thing.
Carrie, you're completely right. That whole, is that Peter fucking Frampton?
Frampton?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't hesitate.
What do you think about the style and structure, Brooks?
I like the structure and the style. One thing that I like, the whole main character breaking the fourth wall and basically talking to you, it can be kind of irritating at times, but it kind of fits with how this character is. He's like so self-obsessed that, he basically has to like tell you how things are. But I mean, as a romantic comedy, like, I think it's good, but I think it could have used a little more comedy, to be honest. But I mean, it does tell the story really well. And I like the fact that at the end you expect he gets back together. You expect normally you expect something happens, like he's an asshole and she breaks up with him again and he has to win her back again. But instead, it just moves on and he it has a happy ending for this kind of romance, which is it's usually not so easily earned, I guess.
Yeah,
and I think I like it overall. I think it's pretty good.
I like what you said there, and it feels more earned and it feels more real to me. It does. I love the style and structure. The style of Chicago, the way it's edited, the way it's put together. We were talking about the length of the film, but it still feels very tight. It's put together very well. There's not too much narration. There's just enough. It's not too much, not too little. It ain't Blade Runner. You know what I'm saying? With the theatrical cut or whatever. But it adds. I am immediately into him. I love the camera work, the camera movement. Sometimes it's hard to notice it, but knowing how small some of these record shops, these comic shops they can look, and knowing what that location would be like and how they film it, it works so well. No offense to Kevin Smith, but look at Clerks. Look at this one and look at the comparison and filming a tight space in multiple different ways. The movie uses the setting and the location expertly well. It's paced very well. It is very tight for its length. And as I said, I started this movie at 11:30 at night on a Saturday. Made it through with no fucking problem. Let's talk about the music. Before we talk about the music, though, Jelani, I love you. I just want to say the music is great. My favorite bit with music in this movie is the whole bit where it's Saturday at the record store. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The record store's packed. Everybody's doing their thing. I'm about to sell 5 copies of the 3 EPs by the Beta Band. And you just let that song play. And the guy's like, this is good. I know. And that's something that repeats. Talking about the style and the structure in the script. That's something that's a repeated line when someone goes, this is really good. I know. And that's something that we say.
Snobbish.
Someone's like, dude, Frank Miller's Ronin's badass. I know. I've been telling you that for decades. Yeah. But it's so it has that. But oh my God, there's a playlist that we play at work that has the 3 EPs by the Beta Band, has that song. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Dude, I fucking love that song. Jelani, what do you think about the music in the film?
Bruh, man. Listen, I own this soundtrack for ages. I need to get it back in some form or fashion. My favorite song on it is the credits at the end with Stevie Wonder, which I believe when I fall in love with you, it will be forever. It's my favorite song. I love that song. I play it all 30, 40 times. Of course, I love the Beta Band song. I love Let's Get It On with Barry Jive and the Uptown 5. I had to remember that. And the Marvin Gaye, just beautiful cover.
Jack Black's probably the only white dude that could pull off Marvin Gaye.
And nail it. Absolutely nail it. There's so many just beautiful songs. I play all these, Bob Dylan most of the time. You don't even notice. Don't even try. I love that song. There's just so many just beautiful things in this soundtrack. You can't name them all, but it's from what I hear, they had to listen to like 2,000 songs and like pick 70 of them to kind of be in the cut because they were such snobs and they had to like have like definitive music that snobs would appreciate. And it's pop music. It's all pop like famous music. It's not indie.
It's where the majority of that budget went, right?
Right.
It's
you had to get all it. Had to get all those things.
Speaking of pop music, one of my favorite lines in the music was did I listen to pop music because I was miserable, or am I miserable because I listened to pop music?
Yep. And it's true.
Which came first, man? Who knows?
Which came first? The love of the misery. But it's kind of those. It's kind of one of those soundtracks where I can just play it in the background while I'm doing things, and you're just humming to it, and you're like, okay. And like Marita Sal, like Lisa Bonet's voice with Peter fucking Frampton, is just it gorgeous,
bruh.
You know, I hate this song.
Yeah. I like that. Actually, I like that song.
I love Frampton Comes Alive. I think Frampton Comes Alive is a fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Fucking album, but that's just
so.
great.
I don't understand why they hate it, but it is what it is. But yeah,
it's like Leif Garrett. It's that shit that everybody liked. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah. But 20 years later, somebody does a cover, and you're
I also love. I Just Called to Say I Love You. I played that song like 3 or 4 times. I love that song. It's beautiful.
Come on, man. There's no way your daughter likes that song. I mean,
the bottom of my all.
All right, John. Hammer time. What do you think about style, structure, and the music?
Structure's great. Style's great. I like the fact that it's narrated. I mean, it adds to it. A lot of movies I don't feel are better with narration, but this works.
This is work.
You know what I'm saying? Breaking the third wall works. So I like the way the film's paced. Everything about the style and the structure is great. Visually, it's an enjoyable film. But the soundtrack, you're right. Soundtrack steals it. I mean, it really has to be because that's what the film is. You know, it's making top 5s, works in the record store. It's all, you know, and it's great soundtrack, but I also feel a lot of it, you know, because how much music influences our lives or vice versa. You know, music, you can go back and listen to songs and it's, you know, memories of certain times, either good or bad. You and I went through a period too. This is about the same time High Fidelity went out, where I was like, man, I was depressed for like a month. And you were like, yeah, I'm depressed too. He's like, you were like, wait, are you been listening to the same Ben Folds album I have? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that's why we're depressed, homie. Remember that, Robbie?
I do remember that.
That is depression.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And music does
stop
influence.
listening to this
Yeah.
live album is what we need to do.
So music definitely, and then you go back and there's some songs, unfortunately, some songs and some bands that I associate with certain ladies that I can't go back and listen to. One of those was actually a Weezer song, and I'm a big Weezer guy. And so one of those songs, it took me a while to come back around to that song, you know, but I wasn't going to let her take Weezer away from me, man. Let her ruin other bands, but not the Weez. So, but there are some musicians or songs I just can't listen to, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of stuff I listen to that, oh, I remember this time working at so-and-so with Robbie, or oh, I remember this time when I was in college or whatever. Like a lot of those are good memories or just specific memories, neither good nor bad, just memories. You know what I'm saying? So I think music's so important and in our lives, but I like that the soundtrack's great in the movie, but the soundtrack also kind of proves that. You know what I'm saying? He talks about how he's doing, he's redoing it. He's like, oh, you're doing it, you know, alphabetical, or he's like, you know, autobiographical, which is pretty cool concept to go through. Yeah, to go through, and because he's got a pretty beefy vinyl collection in his apartment. So,
and this was before vinyl was cool.
Yeah, before vinyl came back and was cool again. I have a pretty decent vinyl collection, but I like the fact that a lot of companies now that still press vinyl will give you the MP3s with the vinyl purchase, which is awesome. So I always buy in vinyl, and then I got the vinyl, and then I've got the digital, which is you know, everybody should do that. I don't even buy CDs half the time because like, oh, the CD is $2 less than the vinyl, and the vinyl comes with the MP3s. Well, shit, give me the vinyl.
Well, when in doubt, if you can't find the vinyl, you can always see these nuts. Anyway, so
Okay.
I have a very vivid memory, John. I want to say that you were there. I'm pretty sure you were there. So we're talking about Weezer. When we worked at the movie theater, there was a moment where it was like one of those weekdays in the middle of the afternoon. Theaters are dead. Weekdays, middle of the afternoon. We're fucking playing. I think it's Say It Ain't So. But it's something from the Blue album because the Green album hadn't come out yet. Maybe it was. I don't think it was Pinkerton. It's something from the Blue album. I think it was. And like me and a few other people just went ham on like drumming it out and fucking singing along with it. Do you remember that? Were you a part of that?
I don't. It definitely wasn't Green. Green didn't come out to 2001 or 2000.
Yeah, we were there at the theater when that came out, though. I remember that. Or at least I still was. No, I had quit. God damn. Where did the years go? Brooks, what do you think about the music in this film? Did you notice it? This film about music and romance and relationships and taste?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's all right. I didn't really love a lot of those songs in this movie, to be honest.
Kick Brooks the fuck out of here.
It's just sometimes he says some shit like this that really pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? He just got up and walked the fuck away. Look, he's gone. He's like,
he did leave. Brooks, come back. Brooks.
We're sorry there's not a Tool song in this movie, Brooks, okay? We're really sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's all right.
All you wanted was a 12-minute fucking Tool song in the middle of the film, and you would have been fine, right?
If they just played Lateralis, like in the middle of the movie.
Yeah. But I get what you're saying. The music just wasn't things that you caught on to, right? Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. I just want you to know that I respect your opinion. You're wrong. You need to re-listen to the soundtrack, is what I think. You know, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. And all opinions are valid. So that's fine. That's fine. We're not going to take it personal here. All right. I already went on my piece. So the Beta Band. This song got me into the Beta Band. I went and bought the 3 EPs. And thank you. Thank you so much. Just like Road Trip got me into was the band, is it Spoon? Who did that? Goddamn right. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we need to do Road Trip. Wouldn't that be a fun one? All right.
DJ Qualls.
What is the movie about? What's the theme? We've already really kind of talked about this a lot tonight. So just kind of bring it together, Jelani. What's this movie speaking to you?
It's about love, music, and taste. We've already said it. It's basically, and also not to be a fucking asshole. Basically, Rob is in like a crux in his life where he doesn't know who he wants to be, how he wants to become, what he could become. He doesn't know how to do that. And he thinks that a woman would define him to do this, to push him to make him better. Or just to be as complacent as he is. Because his other relationships have been a complacency thing where he's just like, I'm here, whatever. And honestly, I think Laura is being complacent and staying with Rob, because I think she might be better than him. She might be better than him in a lot of different ways. But at the same time, she goes for what's comfortable. And sometimes you have to do that, especially in relationships. I've been in a real relationship in ages. I don't know what it's like, but I have been in them. And I've been the person that's broken up with them, and they've been the people that broke up with me. And it's a rocky road for like a lot of people. And that's why I love romantic comedies, because it shows the guy screwing up and then the guy like comes back and tries to do everything he can to improve himself to get back. Sometimes that's not the best route. Sometimes you just have your flaws, and then, people either need to accept those flaws or get the hell out of the way. It's just one of those things. And so one day someone will be able to be there to accept your flaws. And that's what I think this is about. This is a very compelling love story. I love it. This next to Love Actually, which is also my top 10. It tells so many different stories of love with that movie. And I love that. It's set in Christmas. But High Fidelity does the gritty part. It's pretty much the parts where Rob can be a horrible person, but he's only doing it because it's kind of like a self-defense mechanism that he has in him, that he can't see himself with someone. He just wants to blow through people. And his entire life he's been doing this, and now he has a good one and loses her because he is a screw up. He's a fucking asshole. So basically, it goes right back around to it. Don't be a fucking asshole.
That's right.
That's all it is.
I mean, and you're right. And Eric really hit it right there too. Like, the movie's all about seeking validation externally, which is fleeting, rather than looking inward and improving. And that's what you were saying, basically, right? And he blames
them.
He blames his partners on messing it up. But then he realizes throughout that, I didn't like Charlie. This one woman was way too codependent, right? That was just kissing. They were destined to be together. They got married. He was sexually pressuring the other girl at a way too young of age, and he broke up with her. That's
God, what a horrible dude.
I broke up with her. She basically just confesses this terrible shit, and he's just concerned about how good he feels that he realized he didn't dump him.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What about you, Hammer Time Holsey? What's this movie speaking to you? What's it about?
I think you guys, kind of hit the nail. It does. There is that whole evolving as a person and not being dependent on people or letting people define you and sort of coming to terms with who you are and being happy. I mean, he does talk at the end where this whole idea of being in a relationship and then seeing other girls and like, oh, I wonder what she's like, because the mystery and all this amazing stuff that his current girlfriend it kind of goes away once you live with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, where's the sexy lingerie? Where's there's this, where's that? And so
it wouldn't be a problem if they were poly. I'm just going to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying. So he starts talking to that girl doing the interview. Remember making her a mixtape because you've kind of, when you into somebody, especially you don't know somebody, you kind of put them up on this pedestal and they're perfect and this and that and what could be. And so I think he grows up a lot when he realizes, when he proposes to his lady, and the whole thing's really awkward. And she's like, thank you, or whatever. Remember, she doesn't say yes.
Yeah,
well,
I'll
he
do
grows
it.
as a character, and it was like, oh, I've got somebody great here who, I don't know. He does grow as a character, and I think there's a lot to be said about that relationship to help people. I don't know. I don't know shit about relationships, so when it comes to that type of stuff, but I'd like to think I picked up some stuff from the film, and I do want to point out too that maybe you guys discussed this. Joan Cusack's character, even though she sides with her friend, she does sort of like try to explain stuff to him. She's like, "Oh, you're building two people against you." I want to go back to Joan Cusack's character because she actually was very grounded, even though she was her friend, and how good she was at like trying to explain to him, "Hey, you're making things worse for yourself, and here's how to fix that." So. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm ranting.
No, I mean, I get exactly what you're saying because a lot of friends in breakups, you'll lose friends.
Friends you lose friend groups.
They'll pick sides. You'll lose whole group. Right? Yeah. I have somebody in my life, somebody who I saw recently at the expo when I was walking out of a panel that I was hosting. They were walking into it, but our friend Jen, she's always been that for me because she was always connected with me and other partners in my life, and she never chose sides. And she always was maintained my friend. And it was a conversation we've had 20 years ago.
She was there?
Oh, yeah. Oh. So we even had this conversation one time where it's like, you know what? When a breakup like this happens amongst friends, because me and Jelani lived in this friend group where everybody was kind of like, everybody wound up paired up and then some pairs switched and it got weird. You know what I'm saying? And our rule was always this. If you're down to hang out after, you're real. If you're not down to hang out, then you're not. And Joan Cusack is somebody who's down in this movie because she cares not just about Laura, but about Rob as well. She cares about Laura and Rob. She sees the potential there. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of potential, Brooks has a lot of potential, but he doesn't fucking like the music in this film. Brooks, what do you think about the theme of this film? What's it speaking to you, my man?
I think it's about learning about yourself through the lens of your relationship with others. Like it's like in the beginning, like Rob's character is like, he's kind of just disregarding this relationship he's had with this girl. Like, you're not even important. You're not even in my top 5 list. But then he actually thinks about, throughout the movie, he thinks about his top 5 list, and he reevaluates, his relationships that he had with these people, why he wanted to be with them, and how he screwed them up and everything. And in the end, he comes to the realization that that girl, that the girl that he just kind of casually cast off is important to him. And now he's there's a lot of things about him going back after that. I think he does fuck up on his whole obsession with, have you slept with Ian yet? It's dude, who fucking cares? And he kind of he puts too much importance on things that aren't important. He doesn't. It's all about his feelings. He doesn't think about.
He hasn't matured.
Yeah, he's still kind of got this kind of baby brained way of thinking. But in the end, I think he comes around and he does realize that that's not important. And what's important is that he's found somebody that he can be himself with, and that he can that who appreciates him for himself. Because when it comes to relationships and things, I think the whole idea of leagues and someone being better than you in a way, it's ridiculous. I've seen plenty of people who you would consider out of somebody else's league, but they're in these kind of great loving relationships.
Great relationships.
The whole thing is it's just a ridiculous idea. And the way you learn about who you need to be with is just going out there and finding them. And also evaluating yourself and being willing to to think outside of yourself, to criticize yourself and be maybe I did something wrong here.
Bruh, okay. Everybody has said so much about what this film is about. And that's why it's so difficult sometimes to be me, because you guys are so profound. But let me see if I can tie this all together and add a new element to it. It is about finding value in yourself and peace within yourself. As RuPaul says, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? First step is love yourself. Rob didn't love himself. Not really. And it's a subtle thing in the movie, but he learns to accept himself. You mentioned the top 5 breakups, Brooks, right? And Carrie pointed out it's not top 5 relationships. There could be relationships we don't know about, right? But these are the breakups that he's focusing on. Laura's not even a part of the top 5, but now she is. She's changed it. Well, she changes at the end of the film another top 5 of his. The architect versus the record store owner. She makes him realize that he's achieved some of his goals. Sometimes we need some encouragement. So it's about loving yourself, being on the right path. You're going to find somebody, hopefully,
that compliments you.
It's going to make you better, right? Sometimes you feel like that's happening. In the long haul, it didn't happen. You weren't better. And your friend should have fucking told you not to be with her for over 10 years. Anyway, other times it's very true and it's very real.
What?
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the point being, I like what Brooks said about he needed to be a little more critical in his life. The way he viewed art, music, and other people's tastes, he should have applied that to him. Which leads me to another thing that this movie's about that's outside of all the romantic relationship, real life stuff. It's about the importance of art in our lives. Music, films, comics for us, books, novels. As Rob says in the movie, these things matter. What people like, what people get into. Who are we here at Pop Culture Philosophers? We're a bunch of dudes that get around and talk about pop culture. We do top 5 lists, but we also stress the importance of our art in our lives. We apply it to our lives. We allow it to affect us. We allow it to change us. We allow it to dictate us. There are songs that when I'm fucking depressed in any given situation, if I'm remembering a loved one who's passed away, if I'm remembering a relationship, or if I'm going through a breakup, if I'm doing any of this stuff, if I'm feeling down about myself, if I feel self-conscious, I got playlists that I can go to. Those playlists help you feel an emotion again, place it into something, and now it's objective and it's no longer a part of you. you've given it back to the art, if that makes sense, right? Music, film, story, art is so important to human life. If you have a song, don't let anybody take it from you, John. Sometimes it's good to listen to that song, feel that again, and then move the fuck on. You know what I'm saying? I have songs that I will immediately cry if I hear, right? And I listen to them. I fucking listen to them because art is important, because it is a way to not express just how we feel or how others feel, but how we feel. Because people can make art that hits you, maybe in a different way, maybe in the same way. But the point is this: we all feel, we're all together in this world of high fidelity. All right, time to rate the film out of 5 possible you digs. You out there in the chat, what do you think about High Fidelity from the year 2000? Jelani, kick us off.
I love this movie. It's just, it's so decent. Like you have to appreciate certain aspects of it, like the relationship factor, the fourth wall breaking, the scene, the set, the time. The writer of the author of the book High Fidelity was going through a bad breakup, and he put some of himself into this, and he was trying to figure out what was wrong with me and all these other things. And I haven't read the book yet, but I am now going to sit down and read it. So it's and I hear Rob is just so much more of an asshole in the book than he is on film.
Well, you imagine he's British too, right?
Yeah,
so like, what the fuck, mate?
Like he's, yeah, it's got to be absolutely worse. So yeah, of course I'm going to give it a 5. It's my choice, and I encourage a lot of people to watch it just because we need to have more romantic comedies in our lives. I don't know what it is about them. I mean, sometimes they're very unrealistic, but this is the most grounded one that I've seen.
They need to be grounded, and they need to be clever, and they got to be real, and they got to be different. They can't just be cookie cutter, right?
Yeah, cookie cutter. Guy loses girl. Guy gets girl back through a series of hilarious shenanigans. It's always something.
It is this movie?
Yeah,
it is this movie. There's that other element though about taste, about art, about music, right? Like it's not just listed as a lot of people's favorite film about romance. It's listed as some of people's favorite film about music.
And how beautiful it is, especially pop music. So yeah, I give it a 5. It's very, and I believe when I fall in love, this time it will be forever.
Oh, I believe when I fall, this will be forever. All right, hammer time. Out of 5 you digs, what do you give High Fidelity?
I give it a 5. I mean, it's done so well, and even though Rob may be a dick, it doesn't change the quality of the film. You know what I'm saying? And he does evolve as a character. And great soundtrack, great cast, enjoyable film. 5, man. It's hard to pick fault with this film. Yeah, I got nothing. To complain about. It's a good film. It was done well. The music's great. What's not to like? John Cusack, man. Who doesn't like John Cusack?
I just remembered that we haven't really mentioned the 2 young skate punks who were like
forming. We haven't,
right?
Yeah,
and I great. Love them. And we were talking about the whole bit where like somebody says, "Hey, this is good," and Rob or somebody else will be like, "I know." They say that to him when he's like, "This is really good," and like, "Yeah, we know."
Yeah, we know.
But remember, wasn't that his top 5 to like be a record, like A&R guy or something like that? He wanted to be, and of course, now he's gonna,
because he realized through Laura that he had one of his 5 already.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that pushed him.
That's momentum.
Yeah, maybe that pushed them to actually, put an album. It was 3 songs, EP or whatever, and but still. But then Jack Black steals the show at their record anyway.
Hell yeah,
got to sign him too. Very 5 in the Uptown. Very Jive in Uptown 5.
That's right. I love how he had very specific jobs at very specific eras.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right. It wasn't just jobs he wanted, but he wanted them at set time. He would time travel, I guess, and to work these jobs.
All right, Brooks, out of 5 you digs, what do you give this one?
I give this movie a 4, which is a romantic comedy. I'm not a fan of the genre so much, but it is still a really enjoyable movie. I think it could use a little more comedy, but I think what it does with the romance is really well done. It is a good movie. I really liked it a lot, but I wouldn't say it was a perfect movie for me.
Yeah, word. And we don't have any offense to that.
No,
The soundtrack's a fucking 5, though, regardless of what you say, Brooks. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say. I really want to give this movie a 4.5 just so that Jelani doesn't have the satisfaction of having a perfect score from me after he gave my pick last week, Repo the Genetic Opera, a 2.5.
I still don't like it.
But I can't deny how I feel about this film. I can't deny how it's aged for me. I can't deny my experience. I can't not be honest on PCP movie night, even if I'm given a movie that is basically a 3 at best, a 5, right? We've done that before. I'm giving this one a 5. I don't have a single fucking fault in this movie. I have no fault in its pacing. I have no fault in any characters. I have no fault in any motivation. I have no fault in any theme. No fault with any music. You hear that, Brooks? I have no fault with any music in this film. I have no fault with the runtime. I have no fault with the pacing. I have no fault with the beginning, the middle, and the end. I can't think of a movie that we've covered lately, except for Repo the Genetic Opera, that had such a strong Act 1, 2, and 3. I loved it so much, and obviously that was a bit. This movie is actually way better than Repo the Genetic Opera, and I know that, but I'm giving it a 5. We also got a 5 out there from Carrie. So that's nice. If it was any question for me, 5.
Take her score and then throw Brooks' score away.
Two Gun Pedro's like right there with Brooks says 4 you digs. I liked it, didn't love it. That's okay. That's okay. I'll be honest. I want y'all to know Brooks is not as much of a snob as me, Holshoe, or fucking Jelani is. Honestly. Okay, so remember that. He gives it a 4.5. Manny up in the house.
I'm more in the slob category.
Manny gives it a 4.5. We got Verno in the house too, man. What's up, Verno? How you doing? Good to see you, brother. All right, so a 5 from all of us except for Brooks, who gave it a 4. So we're going to go ahead and say that's a PCP average of 4.5. Let's get it on. It's actually 4.69. Let's just say that. Anyway, y'all get what I was trying to do. It's not a 4.5 though. It is it's like 4.8, 4.75, 4.7569. Okay. So let's just say that. All right. Anyway, we like it. If you haven't seen High Fidelity, definitely check it out. And you should also check out Dylan's Horror Show this upcoming Saturday. I may not be there, but they're talking about a great movie, The Faculty, by Robert Rodriguez.
Also in the theater.
Yes, 1999, the class of 99. Bruh, I was a class of 99. I like this movie. But next week, here on PCP Movie Night, we are continuing Crew's Choice with this man's pick. I hope he notices the music in this one. And I am very proud of you, Brooks, because you're the first person outside of me to pick a Dario Argento film.
Mm-hmm.
So next week, we're talking about the Sergio Leone film written by Dario Argento. Once Upon a Time in the West. Brother, I just ordered my Blu-ray. It's on the way right now, Brooks. So I'm very excited. I haven't seen this movie.
Blu-ray?
No, I didn't, but it gave me an excuse. Amazon had it for $20. Scarpad, who just got done with his show earlier, gave me a $50 gift card for my birthday at Amazon. So nice. I bought Once Upon a Time in the West, which I fucking love. Haven't seen in like 20 years or since we first met, really, Brooks. I'm excited to dive back into it. Hell yeah. Jelani, thank you for being here. Final thoughts. And great pick.
Dude. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Not Repo, but yeah, it was great. Thank you. I'm kidding. Great to speak to you guys about this movie. It was absolutely fantastic. I suggest people watch it if they've been in bad breakups or something like that. It's very calming, very soothing, and plus the music's fantastic. So definitely check it out if you have a chance. Yeah, Brooks and I do Go Figure reviews. This week we're gonna probably do a live stream, but at the same time, I'm thinking about just doing the house tour. Brooks, are you free Saturday? I'm just gonna ask you now.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try to do a house tour of one of our friends. Yeah, we're gonna go down to Arab, Alabama, and we're gonna film some stuff and then put it on the YouTubes. So
if only
we're
they
gonna try
had
to
each other's phone numbers, right, John? They could take care of this, like not live on air during a professional.
Yeah, they could call each other with payphones.
Now that's
in the rain.
Outside in the rain.
In the rain. Yeah.
If you really wanted to fuck with me, Brooks, you should have got to me earlier.
That's right. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing this week. I think we're just gonna skip the live stream. But
Okay.
yeah, good times, great oldies though. We're gonna
House
have some
tour
more
sounds
stuff
good,
out
man.
for you.
House
Yeah.
tour sounds good, man. I'm trying to get all my stuff together so we can do one for me.
Shoot
Hammer
you.
time. Thank you for being here, bro. I love you. Final thoughts.
Really, just like, I don't know, man. Go listen to some music. Watch this movie and then go listen to some awesome music. Whatever it is. It could be music from this movie. It could be your favorite bands you grew up with, or expand. I've been listening to a lot of Japanese music. Expand your music. Go out and check out. Somebody's like, Rockin's dead. I heard this recently on the guitar forum I go on. And first off, there's tons of great rock bands in the US, but there's also a ton in the UK, and Japan is still making tons of rock. So it's out there, man. Rock is dead. Shut the hell up.
I remember us having that conversation 20 years ago around the time of High Fidelity and being like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's kind of dead right now, man. Like everything's Nickelback and fucking Puddle of Mud.
Yeah, just avoid like the main pop station, and you'll find there's good stuff out there being made, man. You might have to search for it, but there's every but especially I've been listening to a lot of Japanese stuff. There's a lot of great stuff coming out of Japan. Great musicians over there.
Yeah, man.
Now I hear that one of the reasons why the new High Fidelity TV reboot got canceled is because Zoe Kravitz said Nickelback was one of her top 5 bands of all time. So
I heard Brooks was in it, is why I got canceled.
Never made it as a wise man.
It's making a fucking 12-minute Tool song in the middle for a training montage like Rocky 4.
Yes.
Brooks, thank you for being here. Final thoughts, man.
I can't wait until next week, and so everybody can tear my movie apart out of spite.
It ain't gonna happen, bro.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
way too
How's
good.
that happening? I don't
Did you
understand what you're talking
Did you realize Argento had written this? Had I told you that before?
No, I did not know that until you told
Yeah.
me.
It's written by Dario Argento. I bet you were confused. You were like, Robbie, I did not fucking pick an Dario Argento fucking movie, man.
about. He did
No,
though.
he told me like a little while
That's
back.
awesome.
It's gonna be a good one, man. All right, so next week, join us for Once Upon a Time in the West. Brooks's pick. Brooks is the one on the delay today. How's it feel? Friday night on Dylan's Horror Show, they're talking about The Faculty. I'm not going to be there, but I'm going to be sad to not be there because Fable and them already talked about this movie, and Dylan's in his own crew's choice. I don't know who picked this, but I'm assuming it's either Steph or Fable. So I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, on behalf of everybody here at PCP, we love you. Stay true. Go listen to some good music. Think about your past breakups, but don't call them up in the middle of the night. Do some kind of weird fucking stretch. You ain't going to find out anything about your life. Just learn to appreciate art and learn to appreciate the art of you. And remember, you. Yeah, no, not you. Yeah, you over there. You got to get rid of that sweater. It's a Cosby sweater. A Cosby
Cosby sweater.